Question 1. Write 6,461 correct to the nearest hundred. So is it close to 6,400 or 6,500? It's closer to 6,500. Question 2. Work out 1/7 of 84. So we can either do 1/7 times 84, or same thing, 84 divide by 7. So we can do either of those and they should give us an answer of 12. Question 3, work out 10% of 95. Again, so we can do 10% times 95. So we could do 10% times 95, which gives us 9.5. Or we could do 95 divided by 10, which gives us the same answer of 9.5. So 10% of 95 is 9.5, or in money, £9.50. Question 4. One night the temperature in Paris was -6 degrees Celsius. The temperature in Moscow was 4 degrees less than the temperature in Paris. What was the temperature in Moscow? So what is 4 less than -6, than -6? So it's -6, -6, take away 4. And you can check that on the calculator. -6 take away 4 is -10. Question 5. Change 3.5 meters into centimeters. So to change meters into centimeters, we multiply it by 100. So it's 350. Question 6. So we've got a shape made of a triangle and a rectangle. So we've been given some dimensions. We have to work out the other ones. So the rectangle is 12 long, and this part of the top is 8. So the whole top has to be 12. So 12 take away 8 means that this is 4 centimeters. And again, the whole shape together is 13 centimeters tall. The rectangle is 8 centimeters tall. So 13 take away 8 will give us 5 centimeters for the triangle. So now we know all the dimensions we need to know. So the area of the rectangle of a rectangle is the base times the height, or length times width. So 12 times 8. And we can do that in the calculator. And that gives us 96 centimeters squared. And for the triangle, the area of a triangle is half of the base times the height, or the base times the height divided by 2. So 4 times 5 over 2. So 4 times 5 is 20. Half of that is 10. And again, you can do that in the calculator. You don't have to do that in your head. So the rectangle is 96 centimeters squared. The triangle is 10 centimeters squared. So the whole shape is 96 plus 10, which is 106 centimeters squared. Question 7. Poppy wants to buy as many chocolate bars as she can. She has £5 to spend on chocolate bars. Each chocolate bar costs 42p. How much change will she get from the £5? So we need to know how many chocolate bars she's going to buy. So £5 is 500p. And we want to know how many 42p's go into 500p. So we're dividing how many 42s go into 500. So 500 over 42. And that's 11.9. But she can't buy 0.9 of a chocolate bar. So she's going to have to buy 11 chocolate bars. So that was 11.9. So she's going to buy 11 chocolate bars. And how much does that cost? So 11 chocolate bars that cost 42p each. How much? So 11 times 42 is 462. So it's 462 pence. And the question is, how much change does she get? So 500 minus 462. So 500 minus the answer, and that's 38. So that is 38p. Question 8. Here is a number machine. So we've got an input, then we multiply by 4, then we add 7, and we get the output. So found the output when the input is 5. So we're going to do 5 times 4, and then plus 7. We can do that in the calculator, but 5 times 4 is 20, plus 7 is 27. And find the output when the input is -3. So let's use the calculator this time. So we can have -3. We're going to multiply it by 4, which gives us -12. And then we're going to plus 7, which is -5. And part C, find the input when the output is 71. So we're going backwards. So what's the opposite of this function machine? So the opposite, we're going backwards. So we're starting with the output, which is 71. Instead of adding 7, we're going to do the opposite, which is going to be take away 7. And instead of timesing by 4, we're going to do the opposite, which is dividing by 4. So we're going to do 71, take away 7, and divide by 4, and that should get us back to the start. So we've got 71, we take away 7, which gives us 64, and then divide by 4, which is 16. And then if we go forwards, we should be able to go 16 times 4 is 64, plus 7 is 71. So we know we've done it correctly. Question 9. Write the ratio 15 to 35 in its simplest form. So 15 and 35 are both in the 5 times table. So how many 5s make 15? That's 3. How many 5s make 35? That's 7. So there's our answer. Part B. There are red shapes and blue shapes in a box. 2/3 of the shapes are red. Write the ratio of red shapes to blue shapes. So if 2/3 are red, 1/3 must be blue. So it's 2/3 to 1/3, or simplified, 2 to 1. Question 10. which is greater, 25% of 90 or 28% of 82? So to work out 25% of 90, so 25% of 90, we can do 25% times 90. When we see of in a question, we can change it to times. So we could write that in the calculator, or we could write it as a decimal, which is 0.25 times 90. So I'll show you either of those two work. So 25% times 90 is 22.5, or 0.25 times 90, 22.5. So that's 22.5. And then 28% of 82. So 28% of 82 that's 22.96. So which is greater, 22.5 or 22.96? 22.96. So 28% of 82 is bigger. Question 11. Here are 3 cards. Each card has a number on it. Write down all the possible 3-digit numbers that can be made using these 3 cards. So I can have 728 as shown there, or I could have 782 with these 2 switched around, or I could start with the 2 and have 278 or 287, or I could start with the 8 and have 872 or 827. Question 12. Amy, Harry and Emily all save part of their salary each month. Amy saves 2/15 of her salary. The amount Harry saves to the amount he spends is in the ratio 1:6, and Emily spends 86% of her salary. So in order to compare these, we're going to have to make them the same. So we're going to have to make them all into percentages. Is probably easiest. So we're going to convert all of these into percentages and work out what percent they each save. So Amy saves 2/15 of her salary. So to change that to a percentage, we're going to work out 2/15 of 100. So 2/15 times 100. So 2/15 times 100. That's 13.3 recurring percent. So 13.3 recurring percent. The amount Harry saves to the amount he spends is in the ratio 1:6. So we're saying he saves 1 part and spends 6 parts. So that's 1 part out of 7 parts in total that he saves. So it's 1/7 of 100. So 1/7 of 100 that's 14 point, we'll say 1 decimal place, 14.3%. 14.3%. And Emily spends 86%. So if we do 100 take away 86, That's 14% that Emily saves. So Harry saves the most, because 14.3 is the... Harry saves the biggest proportion, because 14.3 is the biggest percentage. Lily says, this means Harry saves the most money each month. Give a reason to say whether Lily is or is not correct. So we don't actually know what their salaries are. So we know that Harry saves the biggest percentage of his salary, but that doesn't mean it's the biggest amount of money. So she isn't necessarily correct because we don't know their salaries. So we don't know. How much each of them save. We only know the proportion of their salary. Saved. So we don't know if it's true or not. So I guess it doesn't mean that Harry saves the most because we don't know. So Lily may not be correct. Question 13. 60 students study a language at a school, and they study French or German. 36 boys. So we're going to fill out a frequency tree. We're going to start with 60, so we may as well start with that. 36 of the students are boys, so 36 boys, and 60 take away 36 means 24 girls. 2/3 of the boys study French, so 2/3 of 36, which is 24, and 36 take away 24 is 12 boys doing German. 40 students in total study French, so 40 take away 24 is 16, and 24 take away 16 is 8. So 8 girls must do German, and the tree's complete. Question 14. A circle is enclosed by a square as shown in the diagram. We've got a circle in a square. Each side of the square measures 8 centimeters. So it's 8 centimeters all the way across, which means the diameter of the circle is 8 centimeters. Find the area of the shaded region. So the area of the square is 8 times 8, which is 64 centimeters squared. We've got a radius, which is half the diameter, so 4 centimeters. So the area of the circle, the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared, pi r squared. So pi times 4 squared. Pi times 4 squared is the area of the circle. Pi times 4 squared. So 16 pi, which we'll leave for now. We'll leave it at 16 pi for now. And so the shaded bit is going to be 64, take away that answer. So 64, take away that answer. And we're going to give our answer to 1 decimal place. So this answer is still in the calculator. We're going to do 64, take away the answer, And to 1 decimal place, that's 13.7. Question 15. Make n the subject of m equals n squared plus 3. So we need to get n by itself. So we want to get rid of the plus 3. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. So if I take 3 away from the right side, I take 3 away from the left side. So what does that leave me? I've got m minus 3 equals n squared. And I want n by itself. At the moment it's squared. So the opposite of squaring is square rooting. So I square root both sides, which gives me n equals the square root of m minus 3. And that is the answer. Part B, simplify. 5m squared times 3m to the power of 4. So we're going to multiply our numbers. 5 times 3 is 15. And we're going to multiply m squared and m to the power of 4. And when we multiply, we add the powers. Multiply the indices, adding the powers. So 2 plus 4 is 6. So I've got 15m to the power of 6. And part C, expand and simplify. So x, we're going to multiply the second bracket, both the terms in the second bracket by x, and then both the terms in the second bracket by the 3. X times x is x squared. X times the minus 5 is minus 5x. 3 times x is 3x. And positive 3 times negative 5. So a positive times a negative is a negative. And 3 5s are 15. So that's expanded. We need to simplify so we can collect the like terms. So we've got x squared. We've got negative 5x plus 3x. Or the other way around, 3 x's take away 5 x's, which is minus 2 x's, and minus 15. Question 16. So all of the numbers are even numbers between 1 and 31. A is 2, 4, 8, 14, 18, 22, and 28. And B is 8, 10, 16, 18, 22, and 30. And we're going to put this information onto a Venn diagram. So one circle is going to be A, the other circle is B, and in the middle, we're going to put the ones in A and B. So what do they both have in them? They've both got 8. They've both got 18. And they've both got 22. So what's left to go in A? 2, 4, 14, and 28. And what's left to go in B? That's 10, 16, and 30. So all of the numbers have to be the even numbers between 1 and 31. So what's missing? Because they will go on the outside. So we've got 2, 4. We don't have 6. We've got 8, 10. We need 12. 14, 16, 18. We need 20. 22 we've got. 24 we need. And 26 we need. So we should have even numbers between 1 and 31, we should have 15 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. A number is chosen at random from all of the numbers. What is the probability? It's in the union of A and B. So the union of A and B includes anything in A and anything in B. So this is the union of A and B, all of the numbers within the circles. If it was the intersection, which looks like an N, it would just be the ones in both. But this is a union, so it includes everything in A and everything in B. So what's the probability? How many numbers are there? So that's 10 numbers out of 15 in total. So 10 15ths. We don't have to simplify it. We could. It would be 2/3, but we can leave it as 10 15ths. Question 17. The frequency table shows the time taken for 100 people to travel to an event. Find the percentage of people that travelled for more than 30 minutes. So how many travelled for 30 minutes or more? So 29, 12, and 6. And we just need to add them up. Which is 47. And it's already out of 100. So it's 47 out of 100, which is 47%. Part B, draw a frequency polygon for the information. So for a frequency polygon, we've got the midpoint against the frequency. So the middle of 0 and 10 is 5. 10 and 20, the midpoint is 15. 20 and 30, 25. 35, 45, and 55. So we want 5 against 14. 15, 16. 25, 23. 35, 29. 45, 12. And 55, 6. And then we're going to get a ruler and we're going to join these points up. And that's a frequency polygon. Question 18. Find the reciprocal of 8, which means 1/8. And we don't have to simplify that at all. We can just write 1/8. Part B, use your calculator to work out 2 cos 40 plus 3 sine 25 cubed. Write all the figures on your calculator display. So there's going to be a lot of brackets. If we write this in one go, we can. So I'm going to open the first bracket. We're going to have 2 cos. And when we write cos, it opens a bracket for the angle. So 2 cos 40. Then we'll close that bracket. Plus 3 sine 25. And again, the angle goes in a bracket. And we'll close that bracket. Then we'll close the overall bracket. And we're going to write cubed. So we've got 21.950,67518. Question 19. Solve the simultaneous equations. So to solve simultaneous equations, we're going to have to make either the x is the same or the y is the same, so we can eliminate something. So if I multiply the whole top line by 7 and the whole bottom line by 2, I will make the x's the same. So the whole top line times 7, so 2 7s are 14, 5 7s are 35, and 2 7s are 14 again. And the whole bottom line by 2, so 2 7s are 14, so the x's are the same. 2 negative 4s are negative 8, and 2 negative 1s, negative 2. So now we've made the x's the same. To get rid of them, I'm going to do 14x, take away 14x, because that would be nothing. So 14 take away 14 is nothing. 35 take away minus 8. Now, if you're not sure, type it in the calculator. 35 take away negative 8. And I'll actually type that in the calculator. So 35 take away negative 8. So 43. So 43y. And 14 take away negative 2 is 16. To find y, I want to divide both sides by 43. So I'm going to leave it as a fraction, 16 over 43. It doesn't simplify. Again, check it in the calculator. So 16 divided by 43 is 16 over 43. We don't really want the decimal. We're going to use the fraction. So 16 over 43. Now I need to substitute this in to one of my top equations to find x. So I'll use the top one, 2x plus 5 times my answer, my 16 over 43, equals 2. So I'm going to times this by 5, which is 80 over 43. So I've got 2x plus 80 over 43 equals 2. So I want to get x by itself. So I'm going to take away 80 over 43 from both sides. So 2 take away my answer. 2 take away answer. So 6 over 43. So 2x is 6 over 43. And to get x by itself, I divide by 2. So my answer divided by 2. It's not giving me a fraction like I wanted it to, but half of 6 over 43 is 3 over 43. If you gave a decimal answer, no problem at all. So the decimal answers are absolutely fine. But I'm going to leave mine as fractions. Question 20. A is the point with coordinates 3, 8. B is the point with coordinates x, 13. The gradient of AB is 2.5. Work out the value of x. So we've got 2 points on a line. So we've got 3, 8. And x, 13. So we've got a line here, and we know its gradient is 2.5. And that means for every one it goes across, it goes up 2.5. So if I go across 1, that'd be 4. And up 2.5, that'd be 10.5. And again, if I go across 1, that'll be 5. And up 1, which will be 13. So I know x must be 5. So I go along 2, up 5, along 1 up 2.5, along 1 up 2.5, which means along 2 up 5. So I know x is 5. Another way of looking at this is by using a formula. So there is a formula that says the gradient is the change in the y divided by the change in the x. So we've got x1 and y1, x2 and y2, and that equals the gradient, which is 2.5. So 2.5 is 13 minus 8 over x minus 3. 13 minus 8 is 5. So 2.5 is equal to 5 divided by x minus 3. And we know 5 divided by 2 equals 2.5. So x minus 3 must equal 2, which means x must be 5 if a plus 3 to both sides. Question 21. It says 21A, just means 21. Olivia is going to invest some money for 5 years. She can choose from 2 options. Investment A, which gives 2.7% compound interest per year, or investment B, which is 2.8% simple interest per year. Which investment should she choose? So they haven't told us how much money she's starting with, but that doesn't matter. We can just say she's starting with 100%. She starts with 100% of her money, or you could think of it as £100. So for investment A, we're going to have 2.7% compound interest per year. So every year, we're going to add on 2.7%. So to do that in one calculation, we multiply by 1.027. So that's 102.7% as a decimal. So to add on 2.7%, we can multiply by 1.027. To add on 5%, we multiply by 1.05. To add on 6%, multiply by 1.06. So we're going to add on 2.7%, and we're going to do it for 5 years. So we're going to multiply by 1.027 5 times. So that's the power of 5. So 100 times 1.027 to the power of 5, and we'll type that in the calculator. Which gives us 114.25. So I'll write that down. 114.25. So if you're thinking of it as £100, she's now got 114 pounds 25p. Or if you're thinking of it as 100%, she's added on 14.25%. Okay, how about investment B? So you get 2.8% simple interest per annum, which means you get 2.8%, that same amount, 5 times. So she's going to get 2.8% 5 times. So 2.8 times 5. And that's going to be, you can type it in the calculator, that's going to be a 14% increase. So that would be £14 if you're thinking of it as pounds, or an increase of 14% as if you're thinking of it as 100%. So investment A should add on 14.25%. Investment B should add on 14%. So she should choose investment A. Question 22. The exchange rate in London is £1 equals, so £1 gets you $1.31. The exchange rate in New York is $1 gets you £0.79. Bernie wants to change some pounds into dollars. In which of these cities will Bernie get the most dollars? So we know what £1 gets you in London. We want to know what £1 will get you in New York. So in New York, we know that $1 is 79p. So if I want to know what £1 is, I divide by 79p. Because 79p divided by 79p is a pound. Any number divided by itself is 1. So we divide by 79 on both sides. So 79 over 79 is 1. So we're going to take $1, 1, divide by 0.79. And that's $1.27. So that's the 2 decimal places, $1.27. So in New York, £1 gets you $1.27. In London, £1 will get you $1.31. So which is better? London. You'll get more dollars in London than you do in New York. Question 23. Each year Rose buys an annual ticket for his train journey to work. The price of Rose's ticket increased by 2% in 2017 and 3% in 2018. The cost of the ticket is £2,534 in 2018. What was the price in 2016? So there have been 2 percentage changes that have happened. 2% was added on, and then 3% was added on, and now we've got this number. So we need to go back, and we need to go back step by step. So we need to undo the 3% increase, work out what that price was, and then undo the 2% increase. So if we're looking at the 2017 price, we're going to say that our 2018 price is 103%. We've had 3% added on to the 2017 price. So I'm going to undo this go and work out 100%. So I'm going to divide by 103. Which is 24.6019. Which is 1%. And then multiply by 100. So that's £2,460.19 is 100%. So that's the price in 2017. And now I'm going to go back again. So I'm going to say this is 102% of the 2016 price. So I'm going to divide by 102. I've still got the number in the calculator. There it is. And I'm going to divide by 102, which gives me my 1%. So 24.11955 and so on. And then I'm going to multiply by 100 to tell me my original. So that's £2,411.96. So that's the price in 2016. So that's the answer. £2,411.96. And if I want to check my answer, I can add 2% on, and then add 3% on, and see if I get back to the 2018 price, which I hopefully will. Question 24. Last year, Patrick paid £2,534 for his annual train ticket, and that's weirdly the same number. This year he has to pay £2,612 for his annual train ticket. Work out the percentage increase in the cost of his train ticket. Give your answer to 3 significant figures. So to work out a percentage increase, we're going to get the change, divide by the original, times 100. So the change is 2,612 take away 2,534 over the original, which was 2,534 times 100. So 2612 minus 2534 over 2534 times 100. So that's 3.08% to 3 significant figures. Question 25. 2 regular polygons P and Q have a common side, which is this one here, as shown in the diagram. Polygon P has n sides. Polygon Q has twice as many sides as P. So if P's got n sides, Q has got 2n sides. Find the sides of angle X in terms of n. So angle X is made up of the exterior angle of P and the exterior angle of Q. So the exterior angle of P, so to work out the exterior angle of a regular polygon, so it should have said it's regular, it did, yep. We do 360 divided by the number of sides. So for polygon P, that's 360 divided by n, and for polygon Q, 360 divided by 2n. So this angle here is 360 over n, and this angle here is 360 over 2n, so x is these two added together. So x is 360 over n plus 360 over 2n. They didn't say we need to simplify the answer, so this is actually fine for an answer, but let's simplify it. So this fraction can be simplified by halving top and bottom. So half of 360 is 180, half of 2n is n, and 360 over n plus 180 over n, so the denominators are the same, so it's over n. 360 plus 180 is 540. So in the simplest form, angle x is 540 over n. Question 26. Liquid A has a density of 1.2 grams per centimeter cubed. 150 centimeters cubed of liquid A is mixed with some of liquid B to make liquid C. And liquid C has a mass of 210 grams and a density of 1.12 grams per centimeter cubed. Find the density of B. So for density, we need to know that density is mass over volume, or we have to remember this triangle. So we know two things for liquid A, and we know two things for liquid C, so we can work out the missing information. So for liquid A, we know the density, and we know the volume, so let's work out the mass. So mass is density times volume. So 1.2 times 150, and we can use the calculator. That's 180. Grams, 180 grams. And for liquid C, we know the mass and the density. So mass and density, to work out volume, we do mass divide by density. So the volume is 210 divided by 1.12. Which is 187.5. And its volume, so it's centimeters cubed. So now we know all the information for A and C, but we want to know about B. A and B added together make C. So we can work out the mass of B. So for B, the mass is going to be the mass of C, which is 210. Take away the mass of A, which is 180. So that's 30 grams. And the volume of B is the volume of C, 187.5. Take away the amount of A we used, which was 150. So that's going to be 37.5 centimeters cubed. And we know the mass and the volume of B, so we can work out the density, which is mass divided by volume. So 30 divided by 37.5, which is 4/5 or 0.8. So that's 0.8 grams per centimeter cubed. Question 27. Solve n squared minus 49 equals 0. So we can solve a quadratic by factorizing. So we've got the difference of two squares. We've got n in both brackets. What multiplies to make 49 and adds up to make nothing is 7 times 7 plus 7 minus 7. So n equals -7. That's what makes the first bracket 0. Or n equals +7, which makes the second bracket 0. Question 28. Find the length of DE. So we've got similar shapes here. So we've got a small triangle DEC. With a base of 3 centimeters. And we've got a big triangle ABC. With a base of 6 plus 3, 9 centimeters. So what's the scale factor? To go from the big shape to the little shape, we divide by 3. We look at the two common sides, 9 and 3. To go from the small shape to the big shape, we times by 3. 3 times 3 makes 9. So to go back, we divide by 3. 9 divides 3 makes 3. So DE is 7.5 divided by 3, which is 2.5 centimeters. Part B, find the length of DC. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. So we can't solve this using similar shapes. We don't know AC, so we can't use that method. But what we've got is a right angle triangle. So we're working out DC, which is this length here. We know the base is 3. We know DE, which we just worked out as 2.5. So we can use Pythagoras. We can use Pythagoras to find the hypotenuse of the triangle. So Pythagoras says a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is the hypotenuse, so 2.5 squared plus 3 squared equals x squared. So 2.5 squared plus 3 squared which is 61/4, or 15.25. That's x squared. So we're going to square root the answer. And that's, to 1 decimal place, 3.9. So x squared was 61/4. So we square root, and to 1 decimal place, 3.9.